My name is Ben Uyeda, and I'm the Director of Homemade Modern. So before we apply a stain or a finish, we want to test them out to make sure they are what we want them to be. So I got a sample that's from one of the same pieces of wood that we used to build the table. And we're going to test these different stains and finishes out. So right here I have some stains, right? So I have an ebony, a gray, and a Danish oil. Danish oil is probably one of the finishes I use the most. It's basically linseed oil, and it'll just bring out the natural colors of the wood. These minwax stains will change the color of the wood. I have one in gray and one in ebony, and they can give you a little bit more of a modern look by sort of suppressing some of the color in the wood. I also have protective finishes. I have an acrylic finish and a mineral oil one. The mineral oil one is pretty good if you are worried about your kids occasionally gnawing on the edge of the table. This is a non-toxic food-grade mineral oil finish. It's often used for butcher blocks and cutting boards. Now this is a polyacrylic finish. It's going to give the wood a slightly plasticized feel, which is why I tend not to use these. But if you're really worried about your kids coloring on the table with crayons, this might be what you want. In general, I don't like to use too much of the protective finishes. I figure if you're going to build a solid wood table, let it get distressed the way solid wood does. But you can apply these in various different amounts of coats to protect it as you want. All right, so let's get started with staining it. So first we're going to try the minwax ebony stain. So we'll just take a little bit with a foam brush and brush it on the scrap piece of wood. Now you can apply these stains in coats to create a thicker finish. Now what's great about these stains is that they'll change the color of the wood, but still let you see the wood grain, whereas a paint will cover both. Okay, and now let's try the gray. It dries pretty quick, but it's also not that thick, so you tend not to see brush strokes with this particular product. Now for these stains, I'll just use a cheap foam brush. If I'm using the acrylic finishes, though, I'll switch to a finer bristle brush, just so I don't get as many air bubbles in the acrylic coating. And it's a very forgiving stain. You can keep layering it on if you want to make it a little bit more gray. Now Danish oil is a little bit thicker, and I'm going to apply it with a rag. It's pretty much made out of linseed oil, and it won't change the color of the wood as much as the other ones, but it will sort of bring out the natural wood tones, the sort of oranges and yellows that are already impregnated into the wood grain. They all look pretty good, but I think we're going to go with the gray. So let's get started.